Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couples Synergy.
So welcome to a special episode of Couples Synergy.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean.
And I'm Maira.
I'm Gabe. I don't even know where to look.
We're a little off script. That's all right.
Thanks for joining us down here, guys. And in our pub, our basement pub that we have talked about in multiple podcasts and interviewed people down here.
It's good to be back.
Yes.
Love it.
June 8th, 2018 was our first recording. We had no idea what we were doing. We were like, oh, we're live. What do we ask?
What do we talk about?
And the best part is, it didn't record.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we had to have him come back. It was a total dry run.
It was picking up everything through not through the mics. It was through the laptop.
Oh gosh, man.
And what are we at? 100 and...
205. Episode 205 is going out on Monday.
And how many listeners?
And we have 112,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Currently.
That is.
It's amazing.
It owns us. You know, last night we were down here recording for the one that's going out tonight, but it's been
It's been an amazing journey.
We've met a lot of interesting people all over the world, which is very cool.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
And one of the reasons why we're doing this episode is because we have decided to sell our house and we are moving full-time to Colorado.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna miss you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're so happy for you guys.
Yeah, every time we go back and forth, it's like we just love getting there. When we come back, we're like, it's a different quality of life. It's so much better.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that, doing this episode would be really cool because we're talking about letting go, right? Especially letting go of things that maybe feel safe, right? That you get used to. I mean, how can you not get used to this place? I mean, this is an amazing place, and
really
this is
cool.
going to be hard to let go. But, when you let go of something, I always believe, and we've always, learned in our life that there's something better coming along. I always tell the story of my first and only skydiving experience. I don't know, have I told you this story?
No?
No?
First time hearing.
So this is like one of our first dates. She takes me skydiving.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's an awesome date.
So I got this tandem, this instructor.
It wasn't my first time.
And it's tandem, so I'm hooked to this instructor, and we go.
He was wearing a
in the
shirt that
plane.
said, "Trust me."
Yeah, I know. That's
Perfect.
looking back, right? So we go up in the plane, and we go up to about 13,000 feet. The back of the plane, the door, opens, and we go up to the edge of the door, and he says, "Just step off." I close my eyes, step off. And so we're flying, we're falling, we're tumbling,
Pull
all
him
that
down 'cause
stuff.
he stepped off. Or
Yeah, because he's hooked to the back, right? And then, he opens up the chute, and we stop, right? We just stop in midair, which is cool. And your perspective was
Yeah, I'm
after.
still free falling, and my guy's like, "There's your boyfriend," and I see a chute open, and then I saw it do something else.
Really?
Yeah, he pulls the chute, and we stop, and then he says, "Here, let me show you something." And he
Well, first you grab the toggles.
Yeah, well, I'm
'cause
holding
that's how
on
you
to 'em.
steer.
Right? And he says, "Let me show you something," and he cuts away the chute,
Oh.
and we start to fall again.
But you were
And
holding
I'm
on.
holding on to the old chute,
Oh.
What
What did you think?
I was just like trying to hold on to something. That's the only thing that was holding us in the air.
Let's slow down.
So then I eventually let go of it, and we continue to fall, and the chute goes away, falls away, and then...
Did you have to get enough speed up again?
Oh yeah, you just...
Wait, did he have like a backup shoot?
Yep, he pulled the... Well, obviously.
So was it like to kind of
otherwise
trick
it
you or
would be
something?
here.
Was it?
The reserve.
Was
There's always a reserve.
Were you up to that? Did you put him up to that? To
No.
scare him?
So the reserve chute comes open, and he says, I had to cut away the first chute because there were some lines that were
Scary.
tangled and we wouldn't have landed safely.
Oh, wow.
That happened.
Right. It does.
That's crazy.
Well, what if his reserve chute didn't come out?
Well, then we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
Oh, man.
You know, it's interesting though, because the first chute was doing what it was supposed to do up in the air. But because of his knowledge, he said he knew they couldn't land safely.
Right.
And that's what happens. We get these coping skills at work,
We hold on to the things
and
that
then
we
they hold us
think-
back. Right.
The things that we think are helping us, we hold on to them. And eventually we have to let go of them and have some faith that something better is going to come along. Right? And that's just kind of how it is when you take a risk and you jump for something that is part of your dreams. You know, something that you think is going to make you happy or that you're driven to do, you know, to become a better person. And just constantly evolving. And you guys have gone through
Yeah, we say
something
we
like
can't
that too.
teach it if we don't live it.
Absolutely, right.
So you guys can share your story.
Yeah, we do have a similar story. After years of corporate work all the time, and we were getting a wedge in between ourselves with just everyday stresses of life and a growing family, the long commute that we had, and
We were drifting apart.
yeah,
Things were pretty rocky.
Yeah, because you were
and
home
I was home.
and you're doing the long commute by yourself
yeah.
and like living two really different worlds.
Well, you know, you guys were talking about this leap that you have taken, and for our viewers, they should probably know what you guys do.
Oh yeah,
Right.
we've been talking so long.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
this
What
is
are we
like
doing, shit?
so if you're watching, this is a product of what they do, and
Yeah.
you want to do a shameless plug here?
Sure, yeah, thanks. So yeah, we ventured off into doing video production. That's kind of a generic term, though. We really like to tap into emotional storytelling, and so I branched off into doing video production, personal branding, storytelling for companies, not just a basic commercial like, hey, here we are, call 1-800, whatever. No, we actually like to tap into their whole story because we want to create an emotional connection with their clients. And we have found quite a bit of success in that. It's kind of a different, you know, we're talking about connections here, and it's definitely been explored before, but we are finding like our niche and how to like, you know,
And what kind of people do you work with?
we work with all kinds. Let's, you know,
So major life events,
definitely major life events,
businesses.
businesses, lots of entrepreneurial startups.
And if you see our website, it's mostly their
Yeah,
work.
like that. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, the
All
photography.
those cute
Your
pictures.
example of your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always talk about you guys.
Um,
And then Dr. Ray's like, you know what? When you told him your dreams,
yeah.
he was like, then do it. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
It's all Dr.
Do
Ray's
it.
fault.
Do it!
He was like,
What are you waiting for?
What's the worst that could happen? And I had like a laundry list of the worst things that could happen, but I know what he was trying to tell me, and it's kind of like the same thing that you did. Jump, right, and do it, and it was the best decision that I've ever made. Honestly, it almost feels like a second life, you know.
Yeah.
And now we've entered a new chapter, and we've discovered things about each other, and actually the support that we really have that we wouldn't have found otherwise, just because we're relying on our
Yeah.
old ways of thinking.
Like we were in different worlds.
Yeah.
You know? So now we're like in one world, and we're business partners. Like we just, we support each other
Yeah.
and we help each other out.
It really is amazing. Like they're talking about like just culturally that we're also isolated. We don't need each other. And because of that, everyone has become very anxious and disconnected and depressed. And we feel bad if we need somebody, right? We feel bad calling up our neighbor and saying, hey, can you bring in my garbage cans because I'm going out of town? Like that's not heard of. Where before I'd be like, sure. And then I'll pick your kid up from the school bus or whatever. You know, you would just help each other out. We had so much community that's so gone. And you guys had that in your relationship. It was like separate.
It was.
And now you rely on each other,
Yeah.
which actually feels better. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it does feel good.
You talk about freedom and independence are two very different words. Well, it's like you were talking about going and seeing the places where your parents were born.
Yeah.
And you said, the guy's out there sweeping the sidewalk in the morning, and that's what you do. And it's just a life that you just get up and live it. And here I think we do a lot of watching life,
Well, I think that's what COVID has really provided, an opportunity for everyone to really take a look at things and find out what's really important. Is going to a corporate job, doing your 9 to 5, commuting, all that, is that more important than the time you spend with your family? And a lot of people were forced to work from home for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And they had to figure out, how do we live in the same space and work in the same space, and kids going to school in the same space. So it provided a huge shift in perspective for a lot of people. And I think either people became more isolated or they really started to make a shift and change
Like
in their life.
connecting more.
Yeah.
Because we're all together,
I think it's important to have that perspective of compassion and prayer for people we can't do anything for. And, human beings, we're designed to go through tragedy. And we're designed to heal. I mean, you can't stop yourself from healing. And we kind of have this idea that, if something bad happens, then it's the end of everything. But actually, that's where growth comes from and change. And, one thing when you own your own company is it's all made up. I'm sure you guys gave yourselves a nice title. And you made up a company name. And you have a design of how it looks. And nobody knows. Nobody knows what it, because you're just making it up. You're like, well, someone made up corporate America too. Someone made up how to live, are we really supposed to eat 3 meals a day? I don't know who came up with that. I think we were supposed to run for 3 miles and hunt something and then eat it and then probably starve for a week or something. I don't know how what naturally it is, but we've made up so many things that we think are so set. And that's what change brings us. Yeah.
Yep.
And you have to kind of break out of it. So what's good for you? What's good for you to continue and follow.
Right. Because that's what human beings do, right? There's one thing that we do that nothing else on the planet does, and nobody teaches us how to do it, and a 2-year-old can do it. Do you know what it is? We create.
Create. Yeah.
You give a 2-year-old a stick, it's a magic wand. They're going to come up with something, right? They're just going to start creating. And we've stopped that process. What we've lost the most that I'm the saddest about is boredom. As soon as you're bored,
True.
Can't get in an elevator without people pulling out their phones.
Yeah.
Right?
This drink's kind of getting to me, so I lost my train of thought why I started talking about that because we were talking about social media.
Social media, yeah.
Right? Social
And how
media.
It's negatively affecting
Yes.
us.
So anyways, you take off the internet. He takes it off around 7-ish because that's when you wind down.
That's good.
We want the kids to wind down. They shouldn't be on their phones. They should be getting ready for the night.
Because boredom, boom, right? And we want them to be present. We don't want them to be here. And that's why. That's how
And then when they're bored, they she starts drawing. We notice that she's just a really good artist.
she goes and expresses herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
She gets creative. Well, if you think about, this idea of food, now we have grocery stores. Well, now we have to discipline ourselves because we have so much food. And the same thing is true. We don't really know how much internet should we consume and what's healthy. How does that impact our mental health, our emotional health?
Because it's so new, we don't have
Yeah.
enough data, but the data that is coming out is showing such a negative, impact on our society. One of the reasons why that we got to this point was, in running a clinic and being in the counseling field for so long, there are a lot of limitations. And when we're talking about growth, when we're talking about, taking that leap and becoming something, creating, this is just really that next step for us, right? Is venturing out into the coaching field and really, letting go of that whole counseling and medical field
Yeah, we don't really have the time to write books and really get our message out there if we're sitting across from someone hour after hour after hour, which we've done for 20 years.
Good for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
You've done your time. It's time for a new.
We want to get to that next level.
Yeah. Good for you guys.
And people will tell you that you can't, that you shouldn't. You know, that's not the formula, right? The formula is not take a chance.
Yeah.
And we took a chance starting our company in 2002. That was our first leap. And the exiting of Illinois is the second major
It's
one.
Another major
Yeah.
leap. Yeah.
And you know, one thing that I thought about is, you know, our kids have been gone not gone, they're just moved to a different place. For 6 years, we've been empty nesters.
Oh wow.
And they're coming home next week. And
Coming
we are
home to say goodbye to the
and we are
house.
all going to get in a car from here and go our separate ways.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something.
Yeah. So we
Yep.
all share, you know, this point of origin here, you know, and now, I mean, they're creating their lives. They're moving in
We're
their
very proud of
direction.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird thought. That moment's coming.
Yeah, it's just so cool how you guys always have like these like
Exciting.
it's like you
journeys.
create these
Yeah.
like symbolic moments like that, for example.
So
The
history of the
I
pub.
think we should talk about the history of
Yeah.
the pub here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started this in 2013. We started building in
Yes.
2011.
So in 2011,
remember
my
this
sister
too,
got married, and we helped them out a little bit with their wedding. And so Christian, my brother-in-law, he was like, "I want to do something for you guys. Let's finish your basement."
That's nice.
And so he comes over,
So this is
This is
total, just
December.
all concrete here.
and we think too, because she was pregnant, like he was nervous about becoming a dad. So he was like,
You want to get out of the house.
every Saturday he was here.
Oh wow.
And you didn't know anything. He
No.
showed you how to
Show me how to frame.
frame, and
Cool.
Show me how to, yeah.
then it sort of got to the
Drywall.
drywall, and they had the baby.
Oh, okay.
He was gone.
And he was
You didn't see him
gone.
anymore.
So it's like half
He
built.
was gone. Yep, half built. And so we started watching YouTube videos and
Yep. Yep.
how do you
Learning
brick
our
a
own-
wall?
Yeah,
all
like
YouTube.
all this brick here is half-inch brick face that we had to lay brick by brick on the walls.
And the name of the pub, Jaxie's Pub, is the initials of all the families that helped us build it. So Christian and his family were not the only ones that would come over. Your brother-in-laws would come over. My mom, Angie, Alec, Dean. You know, everyone's doing something, whether they're putting in insulation or painting or all the million things that needed to happen. So the Yipes is the J.
Andrews,
Andrews, Congarways, Cadcodian,
Okay.
Zender, and
Zoutra.
That's cool.
Sendelbach.
It worked out.
Yeah.
The name.
And so that was the grand opening was
That was
June 14th.
June, right. It was the graduation
June of
party.
2014, Alec and Angie's graduation party. Nothing was down here. Like that day, they set the marble countertop in
On the bar.
in the morning, and we had the party that night.
Right.
And the night before, we stained the bar. We'll
So
give
it
you
had
some
just, like,
pictures of it
one
too.
coat
Yeah.
of stain on this bar.
Oh,
There's nothing on any walls. There's no furniture, nothing. And then
Wow.
after that, we'd sit down here and go, like
Yeah, what
the
should we
couple
do?
in the phone booth.
yeah.
Like, oh, let's put a couple in the phone booth. That was Angie.
Which that's the water meter. So
That's
I
a
had
good way to
to
hide that.
box that out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm boxing this out. What am I going to do with that? So I
Yeah.
turned it into a telephone booth and put a layer of drywall on top of it and shaved it so that it looks like the rounded part of it, a telephone booth. So it kind of pops out.
Ah, okay.
And most of the stuff down here was sort of, we would find along the way. We weren't really searching out for things, or people would give us gifts.
Like the night,
Yeah.
That is really
we
cool.
were in an antique store,
Uh-huh.
and she goes, "Oh, you gotta go look around the corner." And I walk over. Oh, yeah,
That is really cool. I like
That's
that
cool.
night.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
staying.
That Beefeater sign, that's an antique. I'm keeping that. That's something we did find online and specifically ordered.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot of UK beer signs or
Yeah,
neon
yeah.
signs and stuff. And I mean, you got a lot of Jamesons and
Yes.
Boddingtons. It's about it.
And the cool stuff is the custom stained glass that Gene did. So these window wells here,
Oh, these.
those are all custom
And the Joker.
windows.
you
Joker's
showed that?
very
You
cool.
made that?
That is very
Are you?
cool.
It's cool.
So
And
it's
of
a
course,
lot
you
of
guys
custom
know
stuff.
the dollar bills.
The dollar bill. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, my niece passed away in 2015, and we were supposed to meet with my cousin to plan our family camp out that we do every year, and they came over anyways because we figured there's nothing you could do when someone first passes. You have to wait and stuff.
Yeah.
So he came over, and he's like, "Let's put up a dollar bill," and that was the first dollar bill, and I think there's at least 3,000, if not.
Oh wow.
$3,000.
Dollars, yeah, because there's some
over?
50s up there and 20s
Oh.
and 10s and
Okay.
there's 100. You know? So it's just been, and every bill is a story of someone that was down here. You guys have several
Yeah.
from podcasting and coming over and helping us out, parties. So, and you know, someone put one up 2 days ago. But we will take the dollar bills with
I
us.
was gonna ask you, are you gonna take the dollar
Are they
bills with
staying,
you?
or-
And now we're taking
They're
them.
going in a scrapbook.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we are building a saloon in our Colorado
Yeah, I was
home.
gonna ask
A
like, what are you gonna
saloon.
do?
Saloon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so we're totally
Wow.
changing themes now.
Mhm. Right.
Nice.
We
So
have
this is
cowboy
UK.
hats now.
I like that. I saw a
Cowboy
picture of
hats.
these big old hats. Love it.
So yeah, the reason why it created a UK themed pub is the first pub or bar I was ever in was in London.
Okay.
And if you ever travel to England, right, the best food that you can get are in the pubs.
At a pub.
And England does not have good food, but the pubs are good.
For all of UK people that listen to us,
And maybe it's better now. In all fairness, that was probably in the 80s,
Okay, that was
early 90s.
So that was a while
That was a
ago.
long time ago.
so I mean the pubs are, each neighborhood has their own pub, and this is a place where everyone gathers and they come together. And when we moved here, we were looking for a bar or someplace close by that we could, you know, make our community, right? A place that we can go in and we know everybody, that kind of thing. Where we're at, you have to drive like 10 minutes to get to a place.
True.
And we weren't able to find something that we really gelled with, right? And so we decided, hey, let's build one. And so now it did become the neighborhood pub. And when we turn on the open sign up at the top of the house, everyone knows to come over.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, we have spontaneous,
so
but
cool.
they happened 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
I really wish I lived close by so that I could see that open sign. Look out my window and see if the open sign is on there.
Well, the open sign goes on the Facebook page too.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is I
Yeah.
don't get the
The notifications.
notifications, but
And we have had people just show it. It's so fun.
Yeah,
so
that
cool.
is really cool. I'm just laughing. We just did a quinceañera together, and Gabriel got like a lot of equipment.
I thought you just said a kissing ad. I'm like, oh.
No, a quinceañera. So we just like a quinceañera together
Like a
just
sweet
recently.
16.
A sweet
Right.
16. And he got a lot of lighting. So I'm used to doing like my own lighting. And then when he incorporated his lighting, we didn't know what the hell we were getting
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
My lighting was
It's
off.
like learning a new dance.
it's through
It was
her
a
off.
new dance. So I was
Yeah.
like, Gabriel. And when I'm just, Gabriel's
You're
such a
messing
good-
up my mojo.
Yes. So with Gabriel, like I went off on him. Like, oh my God, I'm not getting like my lighting how I want it, you know? But he was so nice about it. Like he took off his lighting for me. That's what I'm cracking up at. Gabe's such a good person, you know? Like he just lets me just.
Rail on him.
I don't know how you deal with
Freak
it.
out. And then he calms you down.
And then you get in the car.
Yeah.
and
As soon as you get in the car, then we
We've never done that.
grow.
We've never done
never
that.
fight. Never fight.
I was laughing about that.
You know,
So
but
thanks for that.
you were talking about like how that's what we're meant to do is essentially get to that point where we're supporting each other and growing. You know, I'm just thinking about when couples are going through their struggles and sometimes they don't make it, you know, and unfortunately they never get that far. So for somebody who's like in that struggle right now, like at that moment, you know, what are some words that will encourage them to try?
You know?
Yeah, we were being interviewed the other day, and what do we talk about it as? Divorce is a brutal transformation
Yeah.
because your entire life, as you knew it, and it's painful. And again, that's the idea that out of adversity, really awesome things can come out of that if you don't let it crush you.
Sometimes divorce has to happen. Sometimes. And we don't ever believe that, people should stay together at all costs. Right? The goal of every single person here on this planet is to evolve and change. And sometimes you evolve to a point that you can't be with your partner anymore. Right?
Yeah.
We always say that every relationship, every marriage ends. We just don't know when or how, right? But it is going to end at some point. We had a couple that we were working with, and we worked with them for about 6 months, starting last January, right? Last January and
April.
April, wow.
Yeah.
And they were at the brink. And she was really angry with him. He was very angry at the world, and he had turned away his daughters even. He had had such a strained relationship with them. And that was she said, this is it. Either we do something or we don't, right? And they turned things around 180 degrees.
That's awesome.
And to the point that they went on their first trip that they hadn't been on in years together. And then they both got COVID, and he didn't wake up.
Oh, man.
He passed away in the bed right next to her. And he died knowing she loved him because she wasn't sure about that before. And her own journey since then has been very amazing, going for it, right? Talk about, a brutal transformation being thrown into that. And because of the work they did, they had finished business. They were good.
Yeah.
And so she didn't wonder, did he know I love him? That was, they had that closure. They had that.
And he had rectified his relationship with his daughters, and and she had no regrets because they really focused all of their energy on what was truly important, right? And he was taking a lot of his energy and putting it on all of these things that we don't have any control of, right? The government, politics,
COVID, all sorts of.
the right, the left. It doesn't matter. Right. It really doesn't. In the grand scheme of things, the fact that he passed,
It's like when you guys were in Mexico, how much of this is really impacting everyone's real life?
Right.
Probably in the gas pump, but
Yeah.
that's all you notice.
And the thing is over there, it's not.
It hasn't touched them because they control it however they control it. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's
It is just so wild. I don't want to go off tangent, but
right.
Are you feeling good again?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great, but I want them to get their talking points across. But
Yeah.
I do want to talk about adversity.
Yeah.
That in life, especially when when you work in corporate, you kind of have this umbrella over you. You make the same dollar amount, but you make the same dollar amount. You know what I mean? So on either side, you're kind of protected. And when you are not, and you're on your own, you kind of have to weather the storms. And
Ups and downs, sure.
Yep. And what we've learned over the years is that when life happens, even when it's really horrible, and usually the horrible is something you don't see, it comes at you from left field. It's unbelievable, right? That's the word we learned. You just say unbelievable. How's your business going? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
use that one.
And I remember, especially employees quitting. Those were hard
Those
things.
are tough.
And what we found is that along the way, it always was better.
Yeah.
And it ended up being better for them and better for us.
It doesn't feel that way.
You know
when
what
you're
I
going through it.
feel? When I talk to Gabe and I tell him my struggles, just him giving me that support feels good. Then I'm good. I tell him okay, I'm feeling this way, and with the business and whatever, and he's just like, oh, he just said, you make me feel better. You have your support, you know, you have your support, and the two of us could like conquer the world.
Do you know what we call that? Couples synergy.
Oh.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, yeah.
5
I
hours.
love it. I love it.
Cheers.
Synergy, yes.
Cheers to
Right?
that one.
Because we're better together.
Yes.
Welcome to this Couple Synergy podcast with Dr. Ray and Jean. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships, where we invite people over to our home pub, pour a drink, and they share their stories.
We began this podcast as a unique way of showcasing our expertise after helping thousands of couples transform their relationships since 2002. And the number one question that we're often asked by couples is our relationship normal? And this podcast gives us a window into the intimate lives of everyday couples and the everyday struggles they go through, showing that we are all more similar than different.
You know, the average couple waits 6 years before seeking help. So we've created this podcast to teach them what they can do to have a resilient and amazing relationship before they have any major problems.
We look forward to connecting with you more. Please subscribe to our podcast and let us know what you think of the show. Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.